Hey, Drew here, Drew T. Jackson, YouTube channel here, and I wanted to share with you the biggest leadership mistake that I see when I'm working with my clients, when I'm training, when I'm talking to mid-level managers about their leaders, and then just my personal experience. And I was thinking about it, what is the biggest mistake in leadership? Is it failing to reflect on our decisions, maybe? Is it a lack of empathy, right? Empathy is a big word that we're hearing out there from a lot of influencers. Maybe it's a lack of empathy, or it could be maybe you don't have a vision for the future. Many times I've cited studies before by Kuznias and Posner that talk about the number one thing that people are looking for, or the number two thing that people are looking for in a leader after trust and honesty is a vision, forward-looking, a vision for the future. So maybe that's it. But in my experience, it's not any of those. None of those rank at the top of what it is. And it may seem so simple, so straightforward. It's almost a human thing. And that's what I think we have to remember when it comes to leadership, when it comes to working with other people. Never forget the human dynamic. Do not overcomplicate things. Okay, don't overcomplicate the interactions that you have, the responses that you get. We work with humans every single day. And they got issues, they got family stuff. No matter if someone is a C-suite of a multi-$100 million organization, or they have a small company that's barely hitting six figures. They're people. They're the same. You can talk to any executive coach, right? Peel back the curtain. You get to talk to people. They get to be vulnerable with you. And people are people. So don't overcomplicate it. Okay. So what's the number one leadership mistake? That I find and I run into, and it's this: when leaders think that they don't make mistakes, and then failing to apologize when they do. If you are a leader and you think that you do not mess up, that's failure mistake number one. And the second part of it is not apologizing when you do mess up. And I'll tell you the thought process behind this. Many leaders, they don't apologize because they think, maybe the team didn't notice. The team just didn't notice the mistake I made. Number one. Number two, you're embarrassed. You don't want to own up to it. Or number three, you think that it'll look weak if you apologize to your team. You are wrong on all accounts, okay? You're wrong on all accounts. And here's the reality. Your team knows that you made a mistake. If you screwed up, you probably should feel embarrassed. And that's okay. We all mess up. It happens. It's not a matter of if you're going to mess up. It's a matter of when you are going to mess up. Every single leader, no matter how good they are, they mess up. We're humans. We make mistakes. You make the wrong call. You lose your cool with a team member. Whatever the case is, you mess up. And if you're trying to hold some level of perfection or put out there that you are perfect and you don't make mistakes, you're in for a rude awakening, right? Pride comes before the fall. That's the old saying. If you stay in a place, there's two ways that we can receive grace. We can be humbled, or we can operate in humility and humble ourselves and choose to recognize that, hey, we're humans, we mess up, and I have this title that doesn't make me better than anybody else. I'm the executive, I'm the chief executive officer, I'm the COO, I'm the owner, I'm the president, whatever, right? Whatever title it is, it doesn't matter. What the title is, recognize that you aren't any better than anybody else. You have an opportunity in an organization to have a greater impact, have greater influence than everybody else. But you're going to make mistakes. So let me flesh this out. Let me give you an example of myself and how this happened. Working in an organization, and we were launching a new product. We did the launch. It was a webinar. We did the launch, and everything went okay. It wasn't great. It was good. It wasn't the best webinar ever. And then we finished up, and I had a training that I had to do in Houston, so I immediately hopped in my vehicle and started driving to Houston. And I'm going about my day, right? Listening to music, podcast, whatever. And I'm going down the road, I get a phone call from my boss. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I pick up the phone, and he just begins to lay into me on how I screwed up. And I'm like, I'm blindsided. I don't know. I've just been driving in the car since we last spoke, and everything went well for this webinar. Well, apparently the email that went out subsequent that had the offer in it and everything was the wrong email. My email guy got the emails transposed. I didn't double check it. My bad. I messed up. I didn't double check it, and the wrong email went out, and it was a bunch of gibberish. It was like more of some thoughts and ideas that I put out on paper, and we were using it as a placeholder, and it never got switched out. So that's bad. I got reamed for it, rightfully so. You know, I was told that I embarrassed my boss and mentor, and totally I get that. Felt horrible about it. So I went on. I had time in the car by myself. I was reflecting upon this. Felt like garbage, right? And I was reflecting upon this, and I knew that I screwed up big time. That I will never send out an email without double, triple, quadruple checking that email. And I'll still probably have mistakes, but knowing that for sure, not a mistake like this was really bad. Number two, I knew that how my boss handled it was not right. And I just knew that that's not how I would want to handle it, and that's not who I want to be, even though I'm a mentor, right? And anybody who's been around a mentor for a long time, this is a totally separate thing. But if you've been around a leader or a mentor, someone you look up to for a long time, you'll recognize that they have shortcomings and they have failures. And you as long as it's not illegal, immoral, or unethical, you overlook them, right? Because we all have shortcomings. But I knew that I didn't want to respond in this way with anybody that I worked with in the future. And I was a little upset by that response, beyond just the personal frustration and hurt that came with it. But I was just a little upset with the response as opposed to, the reaction as opposed to a response. Well, fast forward, I drive the rest of the way to Houston. I get in town, do a great training, lead a great training the next day, and I'm done with the training. I'm heading back home. I get another call from my mentor. And this time it's totally different. And it was a humbled person that called and was really embarrassed by their behavior on the phone the day before, apologized to me. And, of course I said, no, I screwed that up. You know what I mean? And I had rectified the situation. We got everything taken care of. But I screwed it up, right? And I knew it. And so, of course, I extended grace and told him I absolutely forgive him and not to ever think about it again. Here's the lesson. How you mess up is nowhere near as important as what you do after you mess up. Let me say that again. How you mess up is nowhere near as important as how you respond or what you do after you make that mistake. That's what has the lasting impact. And here's the reality. So there were a couple mistakes here. We're talking about my mistake. I'm focusing on my boss's mistake, okay? Of course, because why would I want to focus on mine? But my boss made a mistake in biting my head off. What did he do? He recognized the mistake upon reflection. Next opportunity, he apologized to me, made it right. That did not make me think less of him as a person or as a leader. That made me think more of him, like multiple times over. And it changed that thing in my heart that said, I don't want to be like that part of him. Instead, I want to be like this guy. I want to be like the person that is man or woman enough, right, to say, I screwed up. I know I screwed up. And I'm going to apologize to you. I'm going to come to you and I'm going to tell you that I wronged you and it wasn't right. and please forgive me for doing that. I want us to stay in right relationship together. That's huge. That makes a massive impact in your followers' life. You don't know how often I'm talking to people and they're saying, I wish that my leader would practice this, that I don't mind that they messed up. I don't mind that they made a mistake. I don't mind that they missed the mark on something. what upsets me and what I don't understand is, why don't they own up to it? And why don't they just apologize when they do us wrong? I hope that helps you today. The biggest mistake in leadership. If you want some great content, some free content, you can get my book, The Executive Leader's Handbook, at theexecutiveleadershandbook.com. There's a link in the description below. Absolutely free. If you want a hard copy, physical copy, you can get that from Amazon. But get the free copy, get the download, and start digging into the material there. I know it will help you. It's helped my clients. I only use stuff that help my clients. Hope you have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you soon.